Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to a Volpe Bazzo report.
We
got Andy here in the corner. Back from Florida, drinking my Kool-Aid.
My guy.
We have tonight with us, we have two guests. Darren Rigger, who's been a former guest on the show.
Good to see you, Darren.
Our political consultant, as well as councilman. And a special guest is Kevin Davis. First-timer, Croton village trustee, just elected just this past fall. Welcome aboard.
Now, there's something about his election that you said was unique.
Very unique. Kevin decided to run a primary when the quote-unquote party in Croton decided that they had two other officials or two other people that they had in mind. Kevin went in front of them to ask to run. And they basically said, no, it's okay. At this time, we've got our own two. So Kevin decided, you know what, I'm going to, instead of allowing just a local committee of 20, 30 people decide his fate, he said, I'm going to go to the people of Croton to see if, they trust me as far as...
You primaried.
I did indeed.
And
how to give us the results. How did it work out?
People could vote for two. I needed to come in second place to win, and I came in first.
Now, wasn't there something about you being one of the youngest people?
Yes, I got elected last year when I was 23, so I'm the youngest elected official in Westchester County.
Nice.
So, I got to ask you, Dominic, is it unusual for a person that wasn't nominated by the party to primary to get on the ballot? Is that an unusual thing? Because I think I read somewhere that it's happening now.
Yeah, it's happening right now, as a matter of fact.
In Cortland.
It's not unusual. It happens a lot.
But it's happening in Cortland,
It's happening in Cortland now.
And didn't you just, you and your partner, Brian
Pugh, who was my running mate in Cortland.
Right, and apparently you guys were very successful in getting signatures.
We
are taping here on July 10th.
Yes.
So understand when you see this that this will already be going through the process. You got...
Well, we're proud to say, not just me, because it's really...
Well, it's
our team, of which Kevin is part of. We needed 550 signatures to be tendered in order to get on the ballot.
Right.
We just delivered 1,543 signatures.
Wow.
Which is more than the entire Yorktown Republican slate got for their whole slate.
Yeah, so we've got a good active committee. We've got very good responses coming out. And so far, it's been very good.
Now, you are
that's a huge number.
And how old is your running mate?
Brian is 26 or 27.
27.
So you took the Greg Ball model, surrounding yourself with young people, and you're the senior citizen.
Lots of young people. That's the difference.
What I looked for was for a group of people that were just as hard workers as I was. At least I thought. And now I come to realize after being with them for 2 months that they even work harder than me. So I'm very appreciative of their efforts.
You also said that they also bring in these new ideas that is very important.
Correct.
If you're going to run an insurgent campaign, you have to give people a reason why they should vote for you. You can't say, well, I'm not them.
Yes.
Well, not only why you should vote for us, but why you should even show up in the first place.
Right.
So few people come, you got to reach out to those people and give them a reason.
You got to
let them know it's urgent and that they are stakeholders.
But you got to admit, it's nice to have young legs running around knocking on doors.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, it's not just
you gave them a run for their money.
No.
Did you play soccer?
It's not just the young. There were a couple of people that were involved that were even my age, if not even older,
right.
and I still am amazed at some of the numbers that they brought in. So
we've
got a very
active. Let me just chime in and tell you, I think that's a really impressive number because
you guys did good too, right?
Well, I collected 20 signatures. Just me out there with a petition collecting 20 signatures. Do you know how hard it is to collect just 20 signatures? The last couple of weeks has been extremely hot.
It's one of the most brutal summers I can remember.
I can't even imagine collecting over 1,000 signatures. So congratulations, that's terrific.
Well, just to give you an example, Kevin.
Andy always has me sit next to Andy, so he tries to look thinner. That's why he always tries to put me next to him.
Before we go on, I want to stop this right now because I keep forgetting. We had to.
Oh yeah.
Dominic has an announcement to read for all you seniors out there. This is very important. This was from you. Got this from Sandy Galiff. Right?
Correct. This was a press release that they handed out. It's from Assemblywoman Galiff. This is a reminder. There's changes to the basic star will affect current registrants next year. Really, it's a long-winded thing, but really what it comes down to is this. Seniors, especially seniors, please, They want everybody to re-register on the rolls for the Star. The
This
reason
is for 2014.
2014.
But you have to do it now.
Right, and the reason why this is so important is the state found out that typically you're supposed to register your primary residence. Well, they found out that people were circumventing the process, and what they were doing is listing multiple properties.
double dipping.
And they were double dipping, which is fraud. So now what the state said, okay, fine, we caught you, but just to make sure of this, we want everybody to re-register. That way we know exactly what we're dealing with. And that's really what the content
Now, there is
of
an
this press
exemption
release is.
for the enhanced star. They don't have to do this. The people on enhanced star don't have to.
Right.
But there on the other page, there's contact information at the top of the other page.
Well, the
There's a
contact
phone number
information.
information and a website.
All right, contacted. There is a Star registration line, and it's at 518-457-2036, or you can visit the Star registration page online, and it's at www.tax.newyork.gov.com.
And there's a number for Sandy Gallif if they want it on the other page, top of the other page.
Sandy's.
In case you want to get a hold of your assemblywoman,
Yes.
right on the top.
No number for Sandy.
There isn't, there always is.
Nope. She did only one.
Okay.
Okay. But contact Sandy Gale if she can give you an information to further
Or
this.
Greg Ball, your state senator.
Right.
You know, these are state issues, so you want to contact either Greg
And
Ball
it's
or
important
Senator.
because, like I said, they just want to redo the rolls just to make sure that everything is being done properly because of the fraud that they found out.
Right,
that
for
it was
those of
occurring.
you in Yorktown, you want to contact either Greg Ball or Steve Katz.
Right.
So that covers our listening area.
So just get back though very quickly.
right, now let's go back to you're in
So
charge.
we
I'm
heard
watching.
Darren got 20 signatures.
20.
So Kevin's really good at this. How many did you collect for our team?
On the Democratic line, 201. On the Independents, I think about 53.
And how many did I
And the
collect?
Working Family, about 7.
You know my
And then
number.
you collect, I think, about 180.
180.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, before we get... Well,
We
you-
had 5 people that I believe collectively, each one did close to 200. Just those 5 people.
let's say
alone.
that. So we got a Democrat... Now, the primary is September 10th. Tuesday, September 10th,
And that's
correct?
the primary as well for the Independents.
Well,
party.
I want to go into that.
Yeah.
Now, this is all the area that this show covers. Because Yorktown has got primaries on all the other lines, on all the lines too. If you're registered to a party, you got to vote on September 7th.
Right.
Doesn't matter where you are. So now, in Cortland, you have a primary on the Democrat ticket.
Correct.
There's 4 people.
Right.
Top 2.
Correct.
And the 2 people we know, of course, we want Dominic and Brian Poole.
Right. Pew.
Pew.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the first thing. The only reason why I'm not mentioning the other people is because they don't send out any press releases, so they're running a Steve campaign. So we're not going to mention them. Now, on the independence line, you've got, what, 6 people?
Well, right now, no. Right now, there are 4 also.
Right.
Two of them, me and Brian, were given the independence nod. For
Yeah,
the
you
party.
actually got the nod from the independence
Right,
party.
as well as working family.
Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But you actually got the independence line.
Correct.
But I'm just saying, but everybody from both parties, that they can do an opportunity to ballot if they get the signatures.
Correct. But I don't think that's going to happen on the independence line because the other side got 2 registered independents to run on their ticket. So we think that'll be the same thing. Should be 4 people running. Top 2 will get the nod.
Right, and also now the working families.
Right now, we really don't know what's going on with the working family. Me and Brian also, once again, got the nod from the working family party.
You got the required signatures?
We got the required signatures. Everything is all set in place. And we have no clue, no idea what the other side is doing. As we speak,
Well, other sides, because Teresa and John Lentini can have an opportunity to ballot as well.
Right.
That's why I said
If you
you
don't
may
have to put
have
a name on
6
the
people.
petition, for opportunity to ballot, you don't put a name on the petition, you only have a committee for notices, and they say we want an opportunity to write
Well,
in
that's what I'm
candidates.
saying. You may have 6 people on those 2
Yeah.
lines. Now, the one thing I got to give Dominic and Brian credit for, because I used to pick on other people about this, once you got the working families nod, you did not seek the conservative nod.
no.
Because it's very tough to be a liberal conservative.
Right.
So you don't want to
It's-
appear like a hypocrite.
They're too polarized
what I'm
factions.
saying.
Well, it
as
just takes a lot
possible.
of chutzpah.
Yeah.
Well, I've written about this with candidates that do that because it makes a mockery of the
Right. Oh yeah. Yes.
of
Of the
system,
process.
of
Yes.
the process.
The Independence Party primary, though, is such a strange thing that
Yeah,
actually
you've
happens.
been
strange
through a
occurrence.
lot of these.
Well, because there's members of the Independence Party that don't know that they're members of a political party.
Why?
They think that they checked off they didn't want to be a Democrat or Republican, so they checked off independent, thinking that that was like a blank or non-affiliated. Meanwhile, by checking off independence, they joined a political party. They don't know that they joined, but they joined a political party. So sometimes you campaign to these people and you say, "Oh, you're a member of this party," and they say, "I'm independent. I'm not a member of any party."
Right.
And
So
then you have
what-
to show them the list.
So
And then,
now-
how many people vote in a primary in the Independence Party?
If you assume that typically 10% of the registered voters in a party come out and vote in a primary.
About 130.
So you would look at it in that sense. There's like something like 1,300
Yep.
registered independents in the town of Cortland. So you're looking at 130. So,
130.
So you just need your family members.
No.
Well,
Big Italian family.
Yeah, you got. I mean,
one
there's
of their-
Volpes everywhere.
John Lentini, 4 of them in his house are Independence Party. So, even his family is not enough. We have to get rank and file Independence Party members
Right.
who like us. We got to say, look, you may not really interested in the party. You got to show up. It's really important for us. It's going to help us win. Can you make it on September 10th? And then if they don't show up on September 10th and it's September 10th, then you make sure they show up by harassing them until they do.
Yeah.
Now, let me answer both of you because, like I said, we
Uh-huh.
just brought up the discrepancy in when people are registering. What message do you have to the people that thought they were independents? What should they be doing now? That thought they were staying out of it.
The message is you get to vote for whoever you want in November. All it means is that you have the right to show up in an Independence Party primary, and if we have your vote, as well the votes of the majority of Independence Party members, then we have the independent
What I'm
line.
saying, if you checked off independent
Mhm.
on
And
your
you register-
registration form,
Yeah,
Right.
you're registered to a party.
Correct.
that's correct.
Then that means your September 10th means something to them.
Right.
They
Right.
must go out and
Well, sure,
vote.
because you're choosing the candidate that you want to represent or
Right.
they want to represent in the November election.
Now,
That's
Darren,
why it's so.
I'm
important.
gonna
And the
talk-
Independence Party did interview all the candidates.
Right.
And, they're coming out with statements now saying, look, we did interview the candidates. And some of the people who have not gotten the line this year are playing some dirty politics.
I wanna go
They're
into
already
this.
trying to suppress the vote.
Now, this
Well, I don't think that's dirty politics. I think it's aggressive politics.
Well,
but before, because this is important.
I think it's unhealthy to
The-
tell
the-
people
the-
not
the-
to
the
participate.
Pixel
It's
Democrats-
unhealthy to tell people don't sign petitions, don't engage in civic participation.
Well, the idea is
So-
you can't
so-
sign more than one petition. So if you sign for Dominic and Brian, which you should, you can't sign
Which
for
you
anybody
should.
else. So they want to, keep the pickings for them, because the law and the opportunity of the ballot is you start 3 weeks after normal petitioning starts, and the deadline is 1 week later.
But what's interesting is we live in a time now where there are thousands and thousands of voters, and so few actually participate.
Darren,
It'll be
did the
great.
Democrats in Peace will get the I endorsement?
Absolutely,
Well, would you tell them?
absolutely. We don't have a primary in Peaksville. We have no
Right, but
Democratic
but
primary.
you could tell them you got. Did you
but
get the working family?
The Working Family Party endorsed the entire Democratic slate, and the Independence Party endorsed the entire Democratic slate. But
Okay,
here,
now you could go
here in
back.
Peaksville, the people who didn't get endorsed have been trying to. Rob Astorino, for instance, put out a robocall asking Independence Party people not to sign petitions, not to participate. Here's the problem that I have. Your election, when you ran, everyone talked about it, because when you ran and won, you went out and you knocked on every door, and you expanded the people that participated.
That's correct.
What they're trying to do is not expand who participates. They're not going out to the Independence Party saying, this is what we have to offer. There's hundreds of people that didn't sign petitions. They can contact them.
Well, when I ran
They're
last year,
suppressing the vote, and I think that's kind of a little dirty politics.
when I ran last year, the
Politics
party leaders
dirty?
told people, they sent an email out telling them not to sign my petition. And although, that made some of my supporters really angry, I don't think that was a dirty trick. I think that's all fair in games. It's honest. You're right to say, don't sign for the other guy. I want you to sign for me. It's not something under the table. Essentially, they need the signatures to force a write-in primary because they don't have the endorsement. So the way we work on the ballot is, if you're endorsed by the Independence Party, you be the ones on the ballot. Unless you're registered in the Independence Party, you automatically get on. For OTB, opportunity ballot, you have to write it in.
To write it in.
So we're not talking about off-track betting.
And it's difficult to win an opportunity to ballot election.
I wanna-
although write-ins are easier now than they were under the old system.
I want to put Darren, because he's our political consultant here.
Oh, no.
I put you on the spot. Me and Brian have gotten the Working Family as well as the Peekskill slate. We have the Independence support as well as the Peekskill slate.
What peaks? Tell me.
Well, Peekskill,
you're talking about Peekskill, okay.
Okay, because they're in a primary too.
Right.
And now, other than not getting the nomination from the committee in Cortland for the Democrat, which we just tendered 1,543.
Wow.
What does that tell you as far as what our chances are going into the primary?
I mean,
and then general election?
it's got to be terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be great chances. And the fact is, you guys have demonstrated that you're working hard.
Right.
And that's how you win these elections. You don't win these elections by laying back
Right.
and hoping people vote for you.
But as
thinking you could put up a yard sign in the final week. You got to roll up your sleeves and work hard.
As a past party chairman, the next step for a candidate, because you took where there were still Republicans on the council, when you were chairman, there were no more Republicans.
Yeah.
It's the ground game.
Every elected official in the city of Peekskill is a Democrat.
Right, but what I'm saying now, your secret was the ground game. What should they be doing now, leading up to the primary? Because you've been through this as a party chairman. What would your advice
no,
be?
but they're doing it. You guys are doing it. The hard work, because our
What is the
secret,
hard work? Again, that's the
our secret was, and I don't want to. I think everyone knows because we've talked about this
on the show
a bunch
enough.
of times.
Yes, we have.
Our secret was always to try to expand the electorate. So we did massive voter registration drives every year for the last 6 years. In the year Obama ran in 2008, that year alone, 1,500 new people registered to vote in Peekskill. Only 200 out of the 1,500 registered as Republican.
They collected
1,000
more
new
Republican
Democrats.
signatures. Tell the truth, you collected more Republican signatures than the Republicans.
In our voter registration drive, it's true.
That I always thought was amazing.
They told me not to rip them up, and I didn't. We turned them into the Board of Elections, but over 1,000 new Democrats, only 200 new Republicans, and the rest were blanks or green working family.
You had
Independence
sent out a
Party.
press release, so I want to go over one thing.
But we didn't do the hard work just during the election year. We were doing it year round.
But I'm saying leading up to the day, to
wasn't
get
just
people to the polls.
It wasn't a one-shot deal. This is outreach over a period of time that where you began to develop.
Absolutely. We looked at the electorate and we said, the population that we have was not the electorate was not reflecting the population.
Right.
And so we had to work really hard to get more people engaged, registered,
But what about
and get out the vote.
day of the vote? I'm talking the ground game is the day of the vote.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to get your people to the polls.
Yeah, we had 200 people in the streets in Peekskill pulling Democrats to the polls.
So as I'm saying, you guys got to be working on a ground game for September. The easy part right now
But
was
collecting
the
those signatures demonstrates.
That was the easy part.
Well,
now you got to get those
one
signers.
thing we have in Croton is for my election, we have people who voted in my primary. We had 35% turnout of registered Democrats for me. We have people who voted in primaries for the first time last year, and we got to get them to the polls again. Let them know it's important that even though less of your tax bill goes to the town of Cortland than virtually all the other government layers they pay to, that they play an important role in service delivery, and to give them a reason to go
Well,
out.
you saw that on a national level in 2008 versus 2012. What was it? 7 million first-time voters that were in 2008
Didn't
did
show up
not
again.
show. So you can't let them go. You can't say, "Oh, they voted once; they're going to come back."
But there's a county executive race this year, and that'll probably generate some interest, right?
Well, not on the primary level for us though, because there is no primary on the Democratic line.
Only
So
independents.
only on independents there could be some
Spillback.
coattail effect, if you want to call it that, between Bramson and Astorino.
So Noam Bramson got the independence line nod,
Right.
But Astorino might do an opportunity to ballot.
Correct. That's what it sounds
David-
Well,
like.
you said
Attempting
Astorino sent out the email, not to.
Well, he sent out a robocall trying to tell people not to
And the
sign
letter
petitions.
as well. Well, what happened was, I get reports. A lot of people who signed for me say that someone came with Rob Astorino or some other Republican to sign, and they said, "Oh no, I can't sign. I signed for some kid already." And that pretty much narrows it down because they have kid, then you have a notary. Like, there you go.
That's it.
Now,
They know who it was.
I want to switch gears just 1 second because there was big news in the last couple of weeks in the city of Peekskill, and Darren is here to brag about. It was called the Safe Streets
program.
Okay, now what was it?
It's a brand new program we're doing here in the city of Peekskill, and it's to get guns off the streets, illegal guns and unwanted guns off the streets. And it's a two-part program. The first thing is going to be a tip line, a gun tip line, where people can call up, give the police information about an illegal gun, and there's a $500 reward to get illegal guns off the streets. And that tip line number is 914-468-4486. It's 914-468-4GUN, and that's the tip line.
but
Then
Darren, how did
part
you-
2 is going to be a buyback. That's going to be later on in a couple of months.
Yeah, but Dominic had a great thought about this to make money on the deal. What was that thought, Dominic?
Well, the whole idea is if you want to purchase a gun now for $20 and I sell it to you for $500, at least we're making profit on it as a business.
So you're helping.
And he's a businessman. That's a businessman.
You're helping the small businessman.
I'm
here.
telling you, he knows how to do it.
Now, what happens now, though? Because one of the things that always bothers me is we want to get drugs off the street, we want to get crimes off the street, you want to get guns off the street. Right. So you get it off the street, then you go raid the houses. It's off the street. What more do you want? Why do you go into the houses?
Well, the two big things that I want people to know about the program,
please.
the two of them are, first, it's not controversial because it has nothing to do about gun rights or rights to own a gun or not own a gun. We didn't go there. This is about getting rid of illegal and unwanted
This
guns.
is voluntary.
This is voluntary.
Absolutely. No,
Absolutely.
you're not forcing anybody.
Absolutely. And then the other thing is we did not use taxpayers' money. Some people are saying, oh, is this tax dollars being used? It's not.
You had a fundraiser.
We did, yep.
And you got over what you were expecting.
Which you helped promote.
Right, you were expecting only to raise maybe about
we
$2,500,
wanted to raise.
and you went.
We want to raise $2,500 to kickstart the program, and we did a fundraiser with our friends over at the Firehouse Grill, and we ended up raising over $3,000 that night. And then the Peekskill Rotary chipped in $1,000.
Oh wow! I didn't.
So we
even
have
know about
over
that.
$4,000 now. And
now, can people still send money?
Absolutely,
What can they
absolutely.
do? How can they
And
do
all that money came in from Peekskillians, giving $20, $50 small checks. Anyone can make a check out to the Peekskill Police Department. In the memo line, they just put Safe Streets, so they know where it's going. You could turn it in. Police Department, City Hall, or any police officer.
So they can
they'd
still
love to
give
take the
money
money
to this to support.
Absolutely.
This. So right now this is not costing the Peekskill taxpayers.
No, it doesn't cost the taxpayers nothing.
a dime.
No.
And you call yourself
was
a
the
Democrat.
initiative from mayor and council or through the new chief of police, Eric Johansson, a combination? How did this start?
I initiated the idea, but once I initiated the idea, the council supported it. The mayor has been working a lot on it, and Eric Johansson has been terrific, the new chief of police, in implementing the program. I thought about it after Newtown, Connecticut. I started thinking that,
What can we do on a local
we
level?
can't sit back and wait for the state or the federal government to do this. What can we do as a community to kind of get the guns off? And this is about unwanted guns. There's more guns in America than there are Americans. There are more guns than people. And a lot of it are just old handguns or rifles that are sitting around in closets or garages. We had one here in Peekskill. A former corrections officer passed away. His gun has been sitting in a woman's
Eric told us
closet
that story,
for 20 years. And a group of painters came in. A young kid was one of the painters and made her an offer, and she sold him the gun. But that's a kind of a typical story of a transferal of an unwanted gun. She didn't know what to do with it. She's an older widowed woman now with her husband's revolver sitting in a closet.
So now we're going to.
So what is she going to do? So this gives people an opportunity to get the guns out of their homes.
And get guns out of the closet and come out of.
Guns are coming out of the closet.
Right.
Finally.
Yes,
It's about
and
time.
identify themselves.
Guns
who
and
they
Ricky
are.
Martin.
And guns should be allowed to
Jesus.
marry other guns.
Now there was also
Hopefully
one,
Cisco soon.
there was also one other thing. There was also one other thing that came out that was very good news because it's good for the surrounding area. People want to come into Peekskill. People want to feel safe in Peekskill. The Paramount's back.
Yes, Paramount's back.
You had 4th of July festivities. You had a police report came out about the crime stats in
That's right.
Peekskill.
Crime has actually dropped now since 2006. Crime has dropped by 50% in the city of Peekskill, which is huge. It's safer than ever. It's one of the safest small cities in New York.
Well, this is a testament to the police department.
Yeah, they've been doing excellent work.
I mean, So when you hear about, there's people in the surrounding areas that are watching this show, and you want to come into Peekskill, these guys are vigilant. They're doing their job.
But you can see it through the nightlife. Anyone who comes here, uses the restaurants, goes listen to live music or visits the Paramount, everyone feels safe. I don't think people walk around downtown and feel nervous at all.
But you see these guys working. You can't, you can't knock the job these guys are doing. I've always said that the Peekskill police job is tougher than Yorktown. Yorktown deals with shoplifers.
I don't know what you guys do in
Peekskill police
Croton,
has to deal with a lot
but
more.
we've got a lot of police
It's a bigger
programs in the
melting
schools.
pot.
Yeah,
we have that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we have police programs in the schools, and that started 5-6 years ago. And so when you start the intervention and the interaction between the police and kids when they're 12, 13, 14 years old, it's a different relationship when everyone now, 6 years later, you're seeing lower crime. And that's, I think, a testament of the community policing and the cops in the school system.
Well, sure, they're community outreach themselves, and now it's not them, they're one of us.
That's right.
It's a different-
What I want people to know concerning your race, that the September, there is no November without September.
Correct. September is the battle. That's really
because-
that's the battleground for now.
It's like six weeks.
Right, because I'm sorry, the Cortland Republican Party is morbid bound. It's what is the most votes they've gotten in the last few elections? 30%. If I'm thinking,
We don't pay attention.
I'm just saying that's about it. So even to get the 40,
Well, usually they don't even run candidates.
Well,
So the primary is that.
Yeah, the bottom line is that for the first time in Cortland in like probably 30 years, you've had two positions that have come two council
well, it's the first time in
seats.
20 years there's been one we know
Yeah,
of.
there was.
So
and,
it's
now-
a-
and within a week, it seems like this all broke back in January. So for the first time, voters are actually going to be told, "Hey, you know what? You've been dormant. It's been quiet out
Right.
there,
So-
and now you've actually got a race
right,
on the
not only
Democratic
do we
line."
have two open seats,
Right.
you've got the primary. They're primarying for this because it's been, that's what we say about when people stay too long in government. You've got to get these young people the chance to move up. You can't stay forever
Right.
where you are.
Yep.
It's not fair to the people behind you. Move up to another office or move out. And because you got young people like you and you're, in politics.
He's really
you're still-
young. He'll be running for governor by the
I
time
mean,
he's 30.
you may be an old man in this group, but in politics, at your age, you're
Old
still
man.
no. In politics, he's still a young man because most
He's still younger than the median primary voter.
right. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. Now, I forgot to mention everybody that every week you can see my column in both the Yorktown News and the Mayapack News. Sometimes, and it's important to get both papers because I don't write the same thing in either paper. Each one gets their own column. And I forgot to plug myself, and how dumb am I for that?
I read it online.
Well, yes, you could read it online. Now, I want you to give the final word before Dominic closes out the show of what should be going on in the local areas. So they're all having primaries. And you've been through this, you're young. What would you say to the people in your age group?
My age group, if people say you can't do it, then you got to keep holding on. You got to keep doing it. You're going to face a lot of resistance because people are always afraid of change. They're going to put a lot of pressure on you, and that ultimately the Democratic Party is larger than the committee members. It's all about the rank and file.
And that they shouldn't be staying home. They should
Absolutely
be
not.
involved. Because I think what
You got to show up.
I think what
You got to
the
get your
system-
parents out. If you aren't going to be home, you got to apply for an absentee.
Oh yeah, tell me quickly. Absentee ballots. When do they have to be in, and where do they get them?
All right.
And then we'll close out.
So the absentee ballots get mailed out 30 days before the election, and you have to apply 7 days before the election.
Where?
All right. So you can go on the Westchester County Board of Elections webpage, and you can print out the absentee application. You mail it to the Board of Elections. You can also apply for the general as well, and you can also. So yeah, that's how you apply for one.
And they have to be postmarked by.
7 days. Actually, they have to have arrived 7 days before the election.
Okay.
But the absentee and then when you get the
they
ballot,
mail it right to you.
when you get the ballot, they have to be postmarked by the day before the election, so they can arrive 7 days after.
Okay, Darren, Dominic, final word. Say goodbye.
All right, good night, say goodbye, say hello to everybody else. Don't forget September 10th, primary day. It's important. for
Wherever
everybody.
you are in our viewing area.
Good night, Gracie.
Okay.